Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the Mashanddrum Whiskey Room, Whiskey Wednesday night live stream. Blendageddon Week 5. It's crazy. Not that crazy, just saying. But tonight, welcome in, guys. We have a big night tonight. Not only do we have some great blenders going head-to-head a little bit later, but we'll be trying a few new bottles here. I have a quick comparison set up already, which we'll get into here in a bit. But yeah, welcome in, guys. What is going on? Gonna have a little water. Let me say hi to everybody in the chat. Welcome in. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's holiday season going? Lots going on. Been very busy. People enjoying the advent calendar, it looks like. Other people, I get a couple of comments that they don't like the to and fro with the Grinch. What's the word they use? They say it's cringe. That's okay. I'm just having some fun. I don't give a crap. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's say hi to some people in the chat here. We have Eric Sawyer, the defending Blendageddon 2022 champion, trying for a repeat tonight. Well, not quite yet, but he's trying to make it to the Fab Five at least. He already has a bad feeling about this. That's not a lot of confidence, dude. Not a lot of confidence. Dram Yankee is here. Let's see, 96 Millie Man. He still wants my thoughts on purple tops. You know what? I'll crack mine open next week for you. I'll do that. Tune in next week, 96 Millie Man, and I will crack open my 10-year-old Willet purple top and tell you exactly how I feel about it. Let's see here. Joey B's in the house. What's going on, Joey B? Nice to see you as always. Slap Shots Roadhouse. What is up? Daniel Sutherland is here. What's going on? Peter White, my man up in Canada. How are you? Slap Shots Roadhouse. Good to see you as always, man. Sandy Chima is here. Four Leaf Whiskey. How's it going, Stacy? Nice to see you. Russ L is here. Cool Running. Steve A. Where you been? Mr. Minnesota. Where have you been? Miss you, bud. Julie L is here. Julie Like. Oh, do we have... Julie, are you telling people about the live stream yet tomorrow? I don't want to blow the surprise in case. But yeah, nice to see you, Julie. Boss Hog is in the house. That's how you know it's going to be a good night. Let's see here. Honest Charlie is here. Joe the Sample Guy, Tim Cornet, Jeff Perkins, Jeepman 103 is here. He's drinking some Peerless Double Oak tonight. Awesome. Josh Love is in the house. Good luck to all the people with the blunts tonight. Absolutely. Jay Reed. I have a feeling this review is going to be the tipping point that forces my hand to buy the AE Cask. I have not tried it yet, although I did pour a glass out. Being a finished bourbon, I wanted it to get a little airtime before I review it. I will say, though, the color looks very promising. Look at the color on that baby. That is lovely. It's a nice dark color. Obviously, it's probably mostly the port, but we'll see how that thing tastes. Let's see here. Whiskey Juice in the house. Jonathan Eady. What is going on, my man? Shauna Marie D, as always, in the house. What is going on, Shauna? Nice to see you. Doug H is here. Alec is here. He's drinking some Bardstown Origin tonight. Very cool. Awesome bourbon there. Bourbon Retriever. Andrew Bergstrom missed out on Stag 23C twice this week. So it's Woodford 118.4 for me tonight. First of all, I love that batch of Woodford Batch Proof. Probably one of the few batches that I've really liked over the last few years. And Stag 23C, yeah, 3 stags. I don't know. We didn't talk about this last week, but yeah, Stag or Buffalo Trace has decided to release 3 stags for 2023. Now there's a 23C that I've been seeing circulating around. So I don't know if anyone's gotten their hands on that one, how good it is. Haven't really heard about, too much about that one so far. Prescription Bourbon is in the house. Also, it's got a nice little blend tonight going in. JG is here. Let's see. EMC. What is going on, Emily? Nice to see you. Let's see. WM Gemel is here. No box, but damn, they did a great overhaul on the bottle design. Yeah, we'll get into that. It's a beautiful bottle, I will say. Dave Lester, Eric Farrer, James Lay, Ron Miles says, had to jump on the live tonight because I just haven't seen enough of Jason C. in the last month. Ron, you're going to want to stick around till later. So, for sure. 80 HD Whiskey's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We have a legend in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Nice to see you. Giselle's Boston. Cheers to all my favorite people. Jay, have a great live. Thanks, man. Adam Hinson from Flow Rida is here. Martel, you missed me too, buddy, didn't you? You just missed me. Love the Grinch part, man. I like the Grinch speak. Let's see. Enjoying the Mexican chocolate. Picked up Rock House F. Oh, very cool, man. Grinch is awesome. What's tonight's kicks, Jason? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So tonight I am rocking. I only have a couple pairs of these. I don't rock these too often, but I do love these sneakers. These are the Nike Dunk SBs. These are the low tops. So SB stands for skateboarders. And basically, they literally designed a shoe just for skateboarding. I don't skateboard, but I just like some of the shoes. This is the Yuto Horigama, which is, I think he's a Japanese, I think he's the first Japanese skateboarder to ever win a gold medal in the Olympics. So he designed his own sneaker. And I just love this sneaker. It's super clean. Love this sneaker. It's got some brown, little like touch of pink on the back. And then on the bottom, it's also, there you go, the greatest traction of all time right there. So, yeah, I love these sneakers. And, you know, they're light gray. They're pretty clean. They go good with pretty much anything. So that's what I'm rocking tonight. Let's see here. The to and fro of the grid is the best part. Hey, Melissa's here. What's up, MJ? Nice to see you. And I gotta keep up here. Hey, Dan likes in the house. Of course, you can tell everyone about the stream. Okay, I like it. So tomorrow night, Dan, Julie, also Bourbon Junkies, and I think Average Whiskey Drinker, and man, who else? I don't know, Dan. Tell me in the chat. I think Beyond the Row is going to be there. We're going to have a whole trivia night hosted by Dan and Julie Like with all your favorite, with a lot of your favorite Whiskey Tube channels, all going head to head. Should be a lot of fun. So tune in tomorrow night for that. That is a sleek sneaker. Yeah, I like that one. Nice kick, says Bourbon Liquor. All right. So what are we sipping here right now? So I pulled out this little bit of a comparison because I was just in Kentucky over the weekend. We did this thing called the Bourbon Blitz with the Bourbon Hunter podcast. If you guys have not subscribed to the Bourbon Hunters podcast, they're great guys right here in Columbus. Always have a good time with those guys. And we basically do this thing called the Bourbon Blitz. I think I talked a little bit about it last year, where we just literally blitz Kentucky and go to every distillery we can in a very short amount of time. So it started out on, we got there Friday. We hit Buffalo Trace. They had Colonel Taylor that day, so no Blantons, but they did have Colonel Taylor, which I did pick up one of those. We hit Wild Turkey. We hit Four Roses. Four Roses literally had every single recipe in a private barrel available for purchase at the gift shop. So if you guys haven't been there yet, all 10 recipes. Now, you couldn't buy all 10, but they had all 10 there at the gift shop if you wanted to buy them, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you're missing one in your series, that was kind of a cool way to maybe grab a missing recipe if you don't have one. So, all 10 recipes they had. Then after that, we hit Wild Turkey. Got to see Bo Garrett for a little bit. Got my new Wild Turkey coffee mug, which I absolutely love. Then from there, I think we hit Lux Row. We hit Heaven Hill. I think we skipped Willet. We didn't go to Willet. But I think then we bounced back to Four Roses, the bottling plant, to get another one of the recipes. And then I took part in an amazing tour at Jim Beam. I had never been to Jim Beam before. Through all these years, never been to Jim Beam. I finally got to, let's see. Beyond the Row is here. What's going on, guys? Nice to see you. A spirited, congrats on the channel. Let's see. Mash and Journey Army pick is amazing. Cheers, Thomas Ray. Oh, you got the famous rare character, Thomas. Awesome. Buckhorn Podcast in the house. Bo's a great dude. That trip was a blast. The Jim Beam tour was awesome. So we got a little bit of a VIP tour, not because of me, but because of somebody in our group. Because I don't really know anyone at Jim Beam. So, but I review all their products. But I've never, nobody from Jim Beam has ever contacted me about anything. So we went in there, and one of the people in our group had a birthday. So Tyler, if you're out there, happy birthday. And here it is, Dan Like. Tomorrow will be Master Drum Bourbon Junkies, ADHD Whiskey Average Drinker, WhiskeyChannel.com, and Alec from AB Cigars. It's not going to be fun to watch at all. All hosted by Dan and Julie. Guys, tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be, I can only imagine the questions and the shenanigans that will ensue. I cannot wait. So we go through the rick house, see, obviously the amazing history of Jim Beam's. Their earliest rick houses were built in early 1900, I think like 1918, 1920, something like that. And then probably the highlight for me was sipping Booker's. So Booker's distillate coming off the still before it goes in the barrel. Just so Booker's White Dog in my hand, in our glass. It was some of the most buttery White Dog I've ever tasted. It was pretty delicious. But yeah, if you guys have never done a tour over at Jim Beam, highly recommend it. They were absolutely fantastic over there. Great gift shop, which is where I grabbed this, the old Overholt Cask Strength 10-year, which we'll try here in a little bit. And then the next day, we basically spent our time in Louisville, Angel's Envy, which is where I grabbed this. Not to mention, you name it, Michter's. We got to experience the brand new Bardstown Bourbon Company, tasting room and gift shop and the bar. Absolutely beautiful. I actually saw my man Ron Miles hanging out there with his beautiful wife and his beautiful daughter. It was amazing to see them just randomly. Like, hey, what's going on, guys? Nice to see you again. I just saw Ron at Green River for a barrel pick that we just did, which very excited about that. And then we hit Evan Williams. So Evan Williams, we did a really cool tour at Evan Williams, kind of the heritage tour. I had no idea they had all like these beautiful sets like kind of set up in the back of Evan Williams. I've been to all the different floors, but didn't know the tour. I've done the speakeasy tour, but I did not know like the back room had this other tour where there's all like these cool screens. You get to see the real story of how Evan Williams started and all that. So, but they had this in the gift shop, which is the Evan Williams 1783 small batch. What's so different about this one? This is a veteran selected small batch bourbon. So every year they partner up with, I think it actually says in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 different veterans got the opportunity to taste at some different barrels, and they use those barrels to make their own small batch. Again, this bottle's super affordable. I think it was like $35. It's 90 proof, and I wanted to compare it to the regular 1783 Evan Williams, which I have right here. And again, cheers to Dan for the first super chat of the night, man. Can't wait to hang out with you guys tomorrow night. Cheers, buddy. Love you guys. Any new Russell's picks lately? Scooped Rare Birds 101, Tyrone Q pick and eager to try it. 96 Milli Man. We just released 2 picks of our own and a Kentucky Spirit. So yeah, we got a lot. So, all right, let's compare these real quick. There's actually a good difference here. When you compare the original small batch to the veteran blend, you kind of could still pick up that gratiness here in the regular 1783. I mean, it's not a super old bourbon in the 1783. However, I do believe that I think there's about 6 to 8 years old, 6 to 8, or maybe 4 to 6. I forgot the exact age of this, but there's some decent age whiskey in there. 1783 from Evan Williams, I think, is one of my favorite budget bourbons. Besides Cooper's Craft, Wild Turkey 101, I put it right up there in that mix of some of my favorite kind of budget pours. Nathan Bolin, I was not here for Single Barrel Saturday, so I avoided the madness. I heard it got a little crazy in some places, but I have a story to talk about here in a little bit about what happened in Indiana, Costco. I don't know if you guys heard about this yet, but we're going to get into that. Just the ridiculousness around bourbon is still lives among us in spades. So Richie Z, I'm sure you know, but A Spirited Life is a fresh new channel from Mark and Christine Vasco. Oh, I don't know that. A Spirited Life from Mark and Christine Vasco. Richie, drop the link. Mark and Christine Vasco are amazing. They've been amazing stewards of the Whiskey Tube community, and it's great that they started a channel. So absolutely. So I don't get as much graininess on the 1783 veteran blend. So let's try the original first. Cheers, guys. Oh, Nancy Fraley's here. She wants to see what's in store for Blendageddon. Julie L, you didn't know about it either? Yeah, I didn't know about it. That's awesome. That is awesome. So glad for you guys. Mark and Christine, they're awesome. So I'm going to have to subscribe as soon as I'm done here tonight. So Evan Williams, 1783. Again, nothing surprising here. You got your vanillas, you got your caramels, got a nice little punch of oak here. A little bit of that nuttiness that you get with a Heaven Hill distilled product. Let's try it with the veteran own now. Holy crap. Yeah, they were right. This is wow. This has a better finish. It's sweeter. And that little bit of graininess that you get from this one is actually not there. So, wow. That is oh man, this is kind of a sleeper. 2023 annual release. Wow, this is ridiculously crushable, but it's got a really nice finish to match. That is incredible. The American Hero Edition, 1783. If this is anywhere in your neighborhood, guys, for 30, 35 bucks, I would pick it up. So this is from Rickhouse site, Bernheim, warehouses 1E and 1J. So, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I paid $26 for this bottle. 26 bucks. Guys, it's delicious. I'm telling you. It's actually a step above this 1783. I didn't think there would be that much of a difference, but there really is. It's really good. Damn. That's nice. Guys, yeah, 26 bucks. And I think the proceeds for this bottle also go to helping the veterans. So, yeah, what do you got to lose? Try it. But there is a very distinct difference here. And it's really, really good. So, all right. Let me put that one aside because I'm going to keep sipping on this. Well, actually, I can't because I have more stuff to review here with you guys. All right, let's get into the next special Evan Williams bottle that I picked up while I was there, which is the Master's Blend, or the Master Blend, I should say. So, what is in this bottle? Well, first and foremost, I think the price of this bottle was about 70 bucks for this one at the distillery. You can only get it at the distillery while I was there, so I figured I'd grab it. Has a nice little screw top. And what is actually the blend? So the blend contains every single product that Evan Williams has, all in this bottle. So you're talking about Evan Williams 23, Evan Williams 12, Evan Williams Black Label, Evan Williams White Label. Let's see here. Yeah, basically 5 various Evan Williams expressions. Each of these well-crafted bourbons have been married together. So, yeah, that's how it was explained to us. So there you go. Nice quality screw top right there. There it is. 329 people watching right now, guys. Please hit the like button if you can while you're hanging out. Yep, there it is. Yes, Evan Williams 23 is still a thing. However, they just don't release that much of it. Obviously, it's a pretty old bourbon. So, but I feel like you do pick that up. We got to taste this a little bit when we were doing the tour. And it's funny, it kind of smells like Evan Williams 12 year, but on the palate, it actually comes off like a black label bottled and bond with a 23-year finish. So I feel like you can kind of get, you know, some of the components. Yeah, it's crazy. It starts off kind of, again, like on that Evan Williams bottled and bond type of flavor profile, and then all of a sudden it goes into like the oak profile, which I think is probably from the Evan Williams 23 year. Kind of a cool take on the blend, kind of blending all their products together. I kind of like it. I actually think I like the Evan Williams. I think I like the American Hero Edition actually a little better, even though this has some good oak profile to it. It's still pretty youthful up front. Thanks, Richie Z. Yeah, pretty sweet up front. This is like the best way I could describe this is it's Evan Williams black label / bottled and bond with an Evan Williams 23-year finish. So the oak and everything is really where you get, you know, kind of the end game on it, where it really kind of finishes up here. Pretty solid. I don't know if this is worth the 70, 80 bucks that it is. I understand the price point because there is some older stuff in it. Evan Williams 23 year is not cheap. I think a bottle retails for about 400 bucks for that one, for a 23-year-old product, which is still kind of a good value in this market when you think about it. A 23-year-old bourbon for like about 400 bucks. I mean, that's still pretty good. But Evan Williams has always been pretty affordable. So what's the Grinch like better? I don't know. I think he likes the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof over everything. So I think the Grinch has it right. So if you're in Kentucky and you head over to Evan Williams, they still had a lot of these. I would say try before you buy. If you do a tour, I think you get to try this stuff and, you know, judge it on your own. I think some people that we were with were getting a little bit more oak. Some people were getting a little bit more sweet. I think because of the blend components, it's really going to depend on your palate. But for me, I do like the back of the palate. However, the front is a little bit of that youthful note. So, which gets me into our next bottle here. And I know I'm going fast because I know we have a big night tonight for Blendageddon V. And I do want to get into a couple news stories here. One is a pretty disgusting one, which we'll talk about. Yeah, I think Evan Williams 12 is probably my favorite, Kagan. That might be my favorite. That might be my favorite Evan Williams product they make. The Evan Williams 12 year is absolutely delicious. You know what, Sean? We just missed that bottle. It sold out in 2 days. The Evan Williams 10-year anniversary, unfortunately. So we're gonna get a chance to try that. Alex McLaren, Four Roses single barrel OBSK. After years of hunting in Southern California, finally got one. See him tonight. Heard I started some kerfuffle over my Grinch comments. Love the show. Goat turquoise white horns. Started our kerfuffle. A kerfuffle. Alex, did you not like the Grinch? It's okay, man. You're very open to your opinion. That is fine. I know it's not for everybody. You know, one reason I was kind of doing the whole back and forth with the Grinch thing is because, you know, I do a lot of these. Obviously, I do the videos by myself. So having this weirdo here, it's kind of, I mean, I know it's weird. It's a stuffed animal, but, you know, it's kind of nice having, you know, I guess another thing in here to talk to. So kind of doing the back and forth in my own stupid way. It's fun. Whatever. It's only a few more days. Man, Christmas is coming fast, though. So, yeah, for sure. Beautiful. Yeah, Kagan. Beautiful cherry, citrus, and oak. You nailed it. It's got such a really nice cherry punch for that one. I love it. Hey, what's up, Jeffrey Wack? Yeah, Jeff, that Evan Williams dropped for like 2 days, I think a couple weeks ago, and it sold out in 2 days. So there wasn't that many of it. All right. So real quick here, let me give you the stats on this one. So this is the Old Overholt Extra Aged Cask Rye Whiskey. It was barreled in 2012 during the winter and autumn, according to the brand. In Claremont, Kentucky for a decade and was bottled at 121 proof. Now, Old Overholt is a Beam Suntory brand. The brand claims it's the oldest continuously maintained whiskey brand in the United States. Let's see here. Anything else here? Yeah, this was $100, $100 retail, and was aged in a distinctive escalator style warehouse before it was bottled at cask strength and unfiltered. So let me give you guys a little close up of the bottle here. There it is. Yeah, you kind of have that distinctive old Overholt bottle shape, but a 10-year rye. So let's dive in here. While we're doing that, I'll talk a few news stories here. Not many, but this one did pop up. If you guys are a fan of Doritos, this is not a joke. I did not make this bottle up. This is happening, and here it is. Doritos whiskey. Yep. Doritos just dropped a nacho cheese flavored booze, and yes, there's a lot of questions around this. So the brand is called Empirical, as you see on the bottom. You can enjoy the delicious taste of nacho cheese in liquid form, because whenever we want to get our buzz on, the first thing we think is, God, I wish this was an old fashioned that tasted like nacho cheese Doritos right now. I mean, we've seen the Arby's bourbon, we've seen the Kentucky Fried Chicken 11 herb spice rum, we've seen the crab infused whiskey. I mean, this is crazy. If you want to pre-order it, you can. There is a link if you look it up online. If you do want to pre-order it, Doritos says it wants to bring nacho cheese flavor to new and unexpected territories. We can definitely agree this libation is unexpected, to say the least. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Suggested retail price of $65. As far as like, let me see, what is even the proof on it? I can't even see the proof on this thing. Is everybody throwing up yet? You guys throwing up in the chat yet? What in the hell? Sounds gross. ADHD pre-ordered, says Dunny. Spicy nacho or get out. So that's my thing. It's like, man, I mean, I know they want to go with the classic, but would I be all over the Cool Ranch one? I just might be. Hard pass for 20. Peter White's throwing up. Ooh, this smells nice. Big Vic is raising his hand. I feel like he wants it. Shauna Marie D, I feel like is that's basically the sentiment. Adam Hinson, what's secondary? Yeah, that's going to be I guarantee that will be on secondary at some point. Somebody will try to sell that bottle for a higher price. Understand it's cask strength, but how curious how it might stack up against the Ohio Old Overholt 11 year they ran a couple years ago. It wasn't bad, but also not great, if I recall correctly. Yeah, WN Gemo, I agree with you. I had high hopes for that bottle. I just wasn't crazy about it. I think I had 2 pours of it. I have it sitting right up there. It's actually staring at me right now. Mr. Old Overholt staring at me. Easy pass. The Arby's bottle was on secondary for money. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to a bottle that everyone's always excited about every year, even though it's super hard to get. The A. Smith Bowman Cask Strength Batch number 3. Oh, yes. This is the one that a lot of people wait for. I've been lucky enough to get samples of this each and every year. Really great people send me samples of this one. But just this week, just yesterday, A. Smith Bowman Distillery announced the 3rd annual release of its cask strength Virginia Straight bourbon whiskey. This year's bourbon is bottled at 135.1 proof and aged at least 9 years. A. Smith Bourbon Cask Strength will release in select U.S. markets and via online lottery, which will open at noon January 3rd and close on January 10th. The lottery will be open nationwide, but winners must be able to purchase their bottles in person at the A. Smith Bowman gift shop within 3 weeks of winning. The lottery will be able to be accessed here. So you can find a link for it. You can go to the Bowman website and join the lottery once January 3rd hits if you want. The bottles will sell for a suggested retail price of $99.99, so $100. Not too bad. Tasty notes. Let's see. Nose, candy apple, strong maple taste, pronounced sweet raisins and vanilla flavors. Strong finish with toasted taffy. Toasted taffy. What's toasted taffy taste like? I don't know what that tastes like. Interesting. But yeah, all about that release. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have ever gotten a chance to get one of those. Let's see. Buy a Doritos bottle for ADHD for Christmas. I might pre-order one just for the hell of it. Just because it just sounds, interesting. Beyond the Row says it's a beast. So Beyond the Row, you don't have obviously the third one yet, but I know the second one and the first one I've gotten samples of, and yeah, it's a beast of a bourbon, for sure. Beyond the Row says yes, we live right near them. Oh, you have tried it. Beyond the Row lives right near them. Damn. Beyond the Row, I need an assist. Can you get me one? Oh man. All right. Yeah, basically they're BTAC. Yeah, essentially. Buckhorn won. Okay. He wanted. Oh, that's a great. Oh, you got one of those, Martel? That's cool. Yes, Beyond the Row got one. Okay, that's good to know. I might ask you guys for a sample if you get the third one. All right, let's dive into this. Let's dive into this old Overholt cask strength rye here. Let's see what we get. Man, kind of a cinnamon bomb for a rye. Let me see here. Yeah, 10 years cask strength. Okay. For 10 years old, there's not that much oak on it. It's pretty light. Kind of what you would expect, from a Jim Beam. You get that. They have a very distinct vanilla caramel combination note that I usually get. I mean, I know vanilla and caramel are kind of like distinct flavors you get in bourbon, but Jim Beams, for whatever, just smell different and distinct. I'm not sure what it is, at least to me. Yeah, a little allspice and cinnamon. I mean, it's not super complex, and it's also not like, if anyone is worried about dill flavor or those herbal qualities, not a lot of that here, to be honest. All right, let's give it a try. Here we go. Cheers. Woo! You get all the spice on the palate. That's awesome. Wow, that is such a distinct rye bread note that I got on this. Pure rye bread on the finish, which usually happens to me usually flips the other way, where I'll have rye spice, or I should say I get the rye bread in the beginning, and then it finishes with black pepper. This is reverse. I got all the black pepper and a lot of the sweet up front, and then I just got this distinctive rye bread note on the back end of this. Jason, I have an old Overholt 11-year bottle, and it's very well balanced, but agreed. Not super complex and no dill. Yeah, Nancy, that's exactly what I'm getting. Not a lot of dill. Deal. Not a lot of dill. Not a lot of herbal qualities. I think it's more baking spice forward on this one, and a lot of spice from being cask strength. Again, you're looking at 121 proof on this. This is a pretty beastly rye. This gets you in all everything on the sides of the tongue, black pepper, a lot of cinnamon spice, allspice. If you like a spicy rye, then this might be worth picking up for you. A spicy and sweet rye, I should say. Now, if you gear more towards the 95.5 mash bills, where you get a little bit more of the herbal quality, a little bit more of the mint, this might not be quite your thing. But if you like a little bit more of a bready rye type of characteristic with the black pepper and, again, the allspice, the cinnamon, this might be your jam. This even has less herbal qualities than Elijah Craig rye, which is a lower proof, but I still get citrus and herbal qualities on that one. This one, I really don't get it at all. It's just a sweeter rye with a lot of punch to it. Is it worth $100 that I paid to get it? I think so, because I'm trying to think if there's anything like this that I have as far as a cask strength rye goes. I mean, trying to think. Even Knob Creek rye tastes very different than this, I think. I mean, there are a lot of cask strength ryes, especially from craft distillers, which I like. Still Austin, speaking of Nancy Fraley, great rye whiskey. 13th Colony, great rye whiskey. Obviously, somebody brought up Bardstown Bourbon Company a little bit. Their Origins rye whiskey is absolutely delicious, but that's a 95.5. So there's some really good, rye whiskeys out there with a good proof point to it. However, this is not a Booker's Rye type thing. So if anyone is thinking that this is going to be as rich or as good as Booker's Rye, that is not the case here. Booker's Rye is a life-changing whiskey if you ever get to taste it. The Sagamore 8-year. The Sagamore 8-year has a lot more depth and a lot more richness to me than this does. So while this is good, Sagamore 8-year for the money, I think is probably the better buy here. But, kind of nice to taste a 10-year rye from Jim Beam. I love the bottle, old school. Nothing wrong with it. I would probably put this in the try before you buy category as well, especially folks that, are a little bit weird with rye whiskeys. It just kind of happens, unfortunately, where there's a distinct flavor profile in rye whiskey that a lot of people just don't warm up to that much. But having a good Kentucky rye can kind of lead you into it. And then you just kind of build up your way into the spicy ryes. It's usually like a sweet rye or a herbal rye. But I feel like the Old Overholt is somewhere in the middle, where it's not overly sweet, but it's also not overly herbal. It's kind of in a middle ground there. So I feel like depending on your palate, you're going to go either way. So, all right. Before we get into the main pour of the night here, and before we get into Blendageddon, let's talk about Julie L. Please tell the Costco story before I go to bed, which will be as soon as you read this, and hopefully tell the Costco story. Julie, I'm about to get into it right now. So if you guys have not heard about this yet, this happened. Weller Foolproof. Now, I'm giving all the credit right now to the website. If you go to thebourbonculture.com, they have a great write-up about this. So remember this right now, guys, thebourbonculture.com. Just an absolutely great write-up for what's happening here. I believe, let's see here. Who I want to give credit to the author. I don't think the author's name is here. Man, I don't know who wrote this, but whoever wrote this at the Bourbon Culture, if anybody from the bourbonculture.com is watching right now, this is an absolutely stellar write-up and totally appreciate this. But okay, this is what happened recently in Costco. And if you think the bourbon craze is dying down, if you guys have not heard this story yet, this is what happened. This is a review. This is basically a story about the power and lunacy that a single barrel pick of Weller Foolproof can have on the masses. The article kind of goes on to talk about, the difference between an enthusiast and a tater, which is hilarious. So this happened in Noblesville, Indiana, a suburb of Indianapolis. They recently opened a brand new Costco a week or so before Thanksgiving. As most stores typically do, they will have specials intended to draw new members in. One of the incentives was that they would be getting an entire single barrel of Weller Foolproof to themselves. And as things like this often go, there's an insider who informs one person, who then tells another person, who tells another person, and then the madness starts. So it was supposed to drop on Monday, November 27th. Sure enough, there was about 50 dudes that morning, shortly before the doors open. And the manager basically said that the shipment had not come in yet. They didn't know when it would. The crowd got pissed and sulked, and they walk out. For the next 4 days, the same scene would play out. Crowd would gather, front door, all the stuff would happen. And let's see here. But Costco's inventory system is set to where it is either viewable to the public or any employee can look up an item. Not sure if the case was this, but the crowd knew that on Friday, December 1st, that 162 bottles of that Weller Foolproof would drop at Costco. So I could feel like you guys probably know where this is going here. The crowd of all these dudes, all these 50-year-old or whatever middle-aged guys waiting in this line, and the line apparently doubled from what it was on that Monday when everybody was there initially. On that fateful day, the manager on duty, now I'm quoting the article here. On that fateful day, the manager on duty firmly stated that she was not going to release any of the bottles until the crowd dispersed. What happened next was a standoff between the crowd and the manager. Many refused to leave. Some staged a sit-in in the aisles, demanding the manager release the bottles. Allegedly, corporate called down to the regional offices to tell them to put them all out. But the regional offices rebuffed corporate and told the store they were okay with releasing only a few at a time. At the same time, many of the guys who were protesting in the aisles were giving active updates on their status on the local whiskey Facebook group. They started to make the situation look much more out of control than it probably was, but it did illustrate the heart of the problem. The Noblesville's Costco team was ill-prepared for the fortitude that these starchy taters had. I absolutely love that line. Management relented moments before the situation evolved into Squid Game Noblesville edition and passed out the bottles. The aisles slowly began to unclog. The taters had their shiny blue prize. So now I saw some of the comments in this Indiana bourbon group, and these guys saw it as a win. These guys saw this as a win. Like they saw like, hey, we did it, guys. We got our bottles. We staged a sit-in. These guys were calling corporate at Costco to try to get this particular store to release the bottles. It was insane. This story blew up my social media feed. It was on Twitter. It was everywhere. I'm sorry, X, whatever you call it. It was everywhere. But I think any manager should be able to refuse right any time. Something wrong with being in your 50s? Laugh out loud. Oh, no, Doug, nothing wrong with being in your 50s. I'm almost 50. I'm 46, so I'm getting there, dude. So anyway, like reading a story like this really frustrated me because it feels like, no matter like what reviewers say, no matter what writers say, even though Weller Foolproof could be a really good bottle of bourbon, to turn it into something like that is, and also be proud of it. Be proud that you sat in an aisle and created this mass hysteria and probably scared the hell out of the people at the new Costco. I mean, it's indefensible. I'm not sure how you feel like that's a really good thing to do. It's crazy. It's bullshit. I've seen it here in Ohio with Blanton's. Dudes losing their mind because they can't get their bottles. They can't, it's ridiculous. This whole thing with Buffalo Trace, I feel like instead of calming down, it's still staying more and more out of control. I don't know what it is about Buffalo Trace. Myself, other reviewers, other people in the industry, we talk about other great whiskeys all the time, but it just doesn't seem to make a difference, or doesn't seem to get in the heads of these guys that are probably, half of them are probably just flipping the freaking bottle, which is obviously another issue. So you have all these issues coming together into one big problem, and I think the most disgusting part of it is that these guys were proud of what they did in order to get their full Weller Foolproof bottle, which I thought was bullshit. So, yeah, this is still the state of whiskey that we're in. It's still a very sad state. You could walk into a liquor store and I could point out 5 or 6 bottles on the shelf that are better than any Weller Foolproof I've ever had, including Sagamore 8-year. I mean, there's just no way around it. I don't care what anyone says about Weller Foolproof, but again, half those guys are probably wanting to flip the bottle, and that's why they're getting so angry, because you're hurting their bottom line. And as much as a lot of us hate secondary, it's a big part of the whiskey community and what it is. I've actually met some really good people that, do secondary sales, and I get a lot of relationships are met. But when it turns into that, it doesn't feel so good anymore. So stuff like this is still going to happen, unfortunately. I think, apparently Costco, I don't think was really prepared for what was about to happen. Maybe the new people that worked there didn't know about the frenzy, about the shitstorm that was about to hit them, unfortunately. I think you are in the minority if you are truly a whiskey lover and think fighting for a bottle like this is worth it. Yeah, I guarantee 90% of them were flippers. Yeah, it's like the days when the Cabbage Patch Kids were driving parents nuts. Yeah, and I heard some really shady shit going down at the Ohio single barrel release too. There was I heard a story of somebody, I don't know where it was, but there was a guy literally he got there really early and he had like a clipboard or something. He was writing people's names down as far as like who was like supposed to be in line at a certain time. And he did not work at the store. He was like doing this voluntarily, like he was kind of volunteering his time to do this. But later on, we found out that he was kind of letting guys that he knew in like the first or second slots, and it caused a shitstorm. What the fuck is going on? It is just whiskey. But I think to a lot of these guys, you know, flipping it and doing all this, I just can't. It's just when you think it's like starting to calm down a little bit, you hear stories like this, and just all hell ensues. And on top of that, I think it took about 15 minutes for me to see. So Ohio released Weller CYPB. They also released Weller Single Barrel. I think it took about 5 minutes for these guys to get in on secondary. They weren't even at their car yet. Just like, boom, secondary, $500, $600. I want to trade it for a Pappy, throw in some, like, dude, what happened to just buying a bottle of whiskey and sharing it with friends and just whatever, man. I'm preaching to the choir. I know I'm probably in the minority, but a lot of this is still going on, and I get it. It's a big part of it's capitalism. I understand everybody has the right to make a buck, but when you do it to a certain extent where it seems like you're threatening other people, I feel like you have to reassess your priorities in life a little bit. Just saying, as a friendly outsider, if you feel like you're getting to a point where you feel like you're you know, harassing someone over a bottle of whiskey, you might need to readjust your priorities. And I'll leave it at that. All right. Before we get into Blendageddon, let's try this new Angel's Envy. Guys, look at the bottle here. Here it is. I think they did a fantastic job with the design of this bottle. Look at this. Oh, man. I love the new design here of the cask strength whiskey, cask strength bourbon. Now, this isn't anything different, guys. This is a port finished cask strength bourbon from Angel's Envy. Was at the distillery, got to try it. I didn't get to try it, actually. Just got to find it there. That's what I should have said. It was just kind of sitting there. This is a fresh pour. Have not tried this at all yet. No fancy box this year. Yeah, it did not come with that fancy wooden box. It just comes like this. Maybe they put the cost of it into redesigning the embossed wings that are on the bottle, which are kind of nice. So, as far as I could tell, this is 114.4 proof, which is actually no, this is 118.2 proof. The rye is 114.4 proof. I wasn't able to get the rye. I really wanted to try the rye whiskey, but they did not have that one yet. But the cask strength rye will be available at select retailers in Kentucky, New York, Florida, California, Texas, Illinois, Ohio, and Tennessee, while the bourbon will be available nationwide. So the price for this one, though, is $230. $230. That's a lot. Now, as far as it's non-age stated, but it sat in port cask for up to 9 months. I definitely know that little tidbit. No stated mash bill, but Angel's Envy usually uses the 72-18-10, which I believe is Barton. So it could be a Barton source product. But we'll see. I'm not sure if it's going to taste like that, but this has been sitting out for a little while. So let's dive in. Wow, that is what I expected. It is super fruit forward. I get a nice little hint of cherry cola here, which is kind of nice. I love getting cherry cola in whiskey. A lot of port. A lot of cherry. Kind of has like that winey type of, that what's the word? That like that tannic quality to it. That's it, tannins. Yeah, it's earthy, it's fruity. Again, cherry cola. Maybe a hint of chocolate here, but milk chocolate, not dark chocolate. Kind of a lighter chocolate. Actually, good spice I'm getting here too. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon red hot. That's probably from that 18% mash bill. Usually get that on that mash bill anyway. And there could be like a hint of a strawberry in here too. So far, the nose is promising. I'm digging this nose. It's very fruit forward. All right, let's give it a try, guys. Cheers. Ooh. Wow, that port really comes through. A lot of tannic, like that wine oakiness that you get is there. Good spice, very punchy. This is probably a more punchy version of Angel's Envy Cask Strength bourbon than I've had in a little while. I don't remember last year's being this spice forward, and I like that because I feel like it balances out all the sweetness. Yeah, man, you gotta love port. It's port heavy, and this is only the first sip. It hasn't even had time to open up, so I don't even know if the port wine is going to become even more prevalent as we head. As this bottle gets down a little bit. But man, the finish on this is the shining star. This probably has the best finish that an Angel's Envy Cask Strength port wine bourbon has ever had. The finish goes on for days, and I'm digging it. It's not the most complex in the front of the palate, to be honest. I think if you like port finishes, you enjoy that type of a cherry, maybe kind of a milk chocolate type of vibe to it a little bit. But it is oaky, tannic, and then the finish just has a ton of spice to it. Man, the more I sip this, the fruitier it gets. This thing is going to become a fruit bomb as soon as when this thing gets past the shoulder. It's going to be unbelievable, I think. This is really good. Probably one of the best ones that I've had. I'm not going to say this is a, go run out and buy this one because I do think you need to like port in order to enjoy this bottle. But if you like port wine, this is a really nice bottle this year. I got to say. Is it a $230 bottle though? When you start getting like over $200, I just wish people would give you a little bit more of an age statement. I mean, is it that hard to just say, hey, it's 7, 8 years old, it's 6 years old? Just give me an age statement on it. But man, it's powerful. Even though the finish is spicy, I do think that port tannic quality kind of starts taking over a little bit. But I think it's going to get fruitier as it goes down. Now, again, I'll try to give a good, where does this fall here? The 4-Gate Port Peri Peri, I probably would like more than this. The Sagamore Port Finish Bourbon, Sagamore Port Finish Rye, I don't know. I think it'd probably go toe-to-toe with this. Maybe even exceed it for some people. But I do like this better than Midwinter's Night's Dram, if that helps. This has a way better finish than Midwinter's. This has, I think, a better spice. I think the finish is what makes it. So, might not sell for as much if they told you it had 4-year barrels in it, says John. Yeah, I get that too. Which makes you always think whenever there's not an age statement, you could probably guarantee it's probably not too old a whiskey in there. Let's try this one, JC. Traded EHT Rye for a 4-Gate Calvin 60. What's your thoughts on that trade? You are the best, says Matthew M. Now, No, I would probably keep the E.H. Taylor Rye. I love the 4-Gate Kelvin 60, but you know, there's more stuff coming out from 4-Gate, I think. Well, that'll have that similar mash bill. And E.H. Taylor Rye is so hard to get for most people. And that's a nice chocolatey rye and a different mash bill from Buffalo Trace that I really like. I think it's highly underrated, but I also think it's underrated because a lot of people just don't get a chance to get it. So I would keep that bottle. Sagamore ever going to release that port finish? I really wish they would, Dan, because they just released the newest batch of their port finish rye, and I heard it's stellar. So I can't wait to try that one. I actually think I have a bottle here of it. Oh yeah, look at that right here. Look at the color on that. Oh man, this thing is just it's a beautiful Sagamore port finish rye. So yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that love this bottle, but for me, I still, given the port finish on it, still given the tannic finish, the spiciness of it. We'll see how it gets down, you know, the shoulder of the bottle. But right now, this is a try before you buy for me. I don't think this is a run out and get it, especially at that price point. I think if anybody has a chance to try this before they could buy it or gets a sample of it, I would probably highly recommend doing that before pulling the trigger on a bottle this expensive. After the new year, I'll probably do a full review on this, or actually maybe I'll squeeze it in before the new year because the advent calendar will be done on the 25th. So maybe I'll squeeze in a couple reviews, including this one, before the end of the year, just to kind of round out my rise of the year. I don't know if this will make it, which actually reminds me real quick. I will be doing my top 10 rise of the year live, like I always do here on the Master Drum on a Whiskey Wednesday night. I'll pick my 10 rise of the year in no order, and then I'll taste them blind and see which one comes out as number one. Then my bourbons of the year, my top 10, will come a little bit early in the new year as we get into that. I have a lot of bottles to taste through before I name my top 10. So it's going to be a good end of the year here. I love the Prideful Goat Rye for sure, but I do think that, again, you have to like a good spicy rye. Yeah, the more I taste this, the fruitier it's getting. This could end up being a lot better, but right now I just feel like that tannic nature of the port wine is taking over the finish for me. Although I do love the spice, probably the best finish I've had on an Angel's Envy cask strength port in a long time. So if anything, I could give it that. All right, it is time. I'm gonna have to drink a little water here because it's time to get crazy. Because not only are we doing Blendageddon tonight, we have the defending champion Eric Sawyer, who's going head-to-head with four other whiskey blends, and to see if he could get to the Fab Five for a possible repeat. Can he be the first repeat champion that we have? And oh, do we have a secret guest judge tonight, guys? First-time judge. He's been on the channel before, but he's never judged Blendageddon. And oh, is this dude have some street cred as a serious blender? You guys ready to know who it is? Well, first, time to get hyped up. Good luck to the blenders. Here we go. What is up, everybody? It is week 5 of Blendageddon, the American Blends whiskey category, and it's the biggest week yet. 5 more blends tonight, trying to make it to the Fab 5 to see if one of those blends has what it takes to be crowned champion of 2023. You guys know how it works. 5 blends will go head-to-head tonight, with 2 making it to the Fab 5, while the other 3, well, they go home. Oh, it is a very big night. Why? Well, tonight we have Darren Clary, Shelby Strunk, Run DMC Kentucky, Andy Bolgiano, and of course, the defending champion, Eric Sawyer, looking for a repeat. All right, it is about that time to welcome in our super secret judge, the first time judging ever here on Blendageddon. Could not wait to get this person here tonight. Here we go. Eric Sawyer's title defense is on the line tonight. Can he keep it going? Let's find out. Here we go. Oh, baby, we are fired up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in our guest judge tonight, all the way from Bardstown. Oh, man, I didn't want to show that yet. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Calloway of Bardstown Bourbon Company. There he is.
Good to be here. Awesome. I'm excited, man. That was quite the intro. Incredible.
Did that fire you up, Dan?
It did. I had to hit the volume down for the kids. It was I was blasting it. It's great.
Well, thanks so much for jumping on tonight, man. I kind of sprung this on you because I had another judge that fell through, and I'm like, man,
don't tell me that. Don't tell me I was second pick.
No, you weren't second pick. You were. Once this person dropped out, I was like, well, I think they've kind of been on before, so. Man, if I could get Danny Bardstown, this would be amazing. So awesome. Danny is here. Look, everyone's freaking out because you're about to judge their blends. This is amazing.
Awesome. I'm excited, man. The blends arrived in perfect condition, full, ready to go. I just poured them up. I've got A through E, and I'm excited.
So, Dan, before we dive in, I got to say, I was just in Bardstown over the weekend, and got to Louisville, obviously, and got to check out the new space. Very, very impressive. I had such a blast there. We got to do the blending of Discovery 11.
Awesome.
All the different components, kind of, the deconstruction of it. I think that place the place is amazing. It's beautiful. It's modern. It's very Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that passion project and, what that means to kind of get something on Whiskey Row.
You nailed it, right? So when Bardstown Bourbon Company started, it was really a modern take in Bardstown, right? Bourbon capital of the world. We wanted to bring innovation, collaboration, and transparency to all the history and tradition of Bardstown. And the exact same approach was applied to our home place, 730 West Main on Whiskey Row. How do we bring a modern take to this traditional whiskey establishment? So we're right by Michter's, Louisville Slugger, the Science Center, all kinds of just beautiful traditional buildings. And what we're bringing is a world-class bar, great retail shop with one of a kind barrel picks, and then a classroom where we can do incredible kind of deconstruction of blends, flavor pairings, kind of dive into the education.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. We got to experience that. And I mean, we had a blast. We got to try all the different components of this beautiful bottle right here, which is Discovery Series 11.
Oh, awesome.
And I can't say enough about this blend. I think this has a chance to be a top 10 for me this year. Absolutely fantastic job. I know a lot of people were really excited when it got back to an all Kentucky blend. But you absolutely killed this blend.
You.
That was so delicious.
It was so fun to put together, and I'll just say I lead product development for Bardstown, but the coolest thing about our company is we were the first of its kind to have a restaurant, a bar. With that comes an executive chef, a beverage director. Our marketing team are all excellent tasters. We have obviously Steve Nally, Bourbon Hall of Famer, Nick Smith. Our company is full of bourbon enthusiasts, and we can all work together. Everything we do is a collaborative project. So while I'm leading the initiative, it's certainly a team effort on every single project.
So you've transitioned now. Bardstown Bourbon Company acquired Green River this year, which is a huge acquisition. I was just there with this guy, Ron Miles, who is one of the
Kentucky resident, Ron Miles.
Yeah, newest Kentucky resident and one of the greatest humans in the world that I've ever met. He is such a good dude. He rolled out the red carpet. We got to do a Green River pick, and I could not be more excited about it. So are you now transitioning more to the product development and, kind of what's going down the path for Green River now?
Yes. So I'm 100% product development, blends, finishes for Bardstown and then Green River. So
nice.
The last 2 weeks for me have been heavily focused on Green River bourbon and wheated, the next batches to come out. and it's amazing. The challenges are so different to make a new discovery blend or finish versus matching a previous profile. You think about it, all the rick houses, Green River has these beautiful tile rick houses with unique flavor profiles on every floor. And how do you match blending across different flavor profiles to kind of create a continuous expression? And then we have some new ones for Green River coming out in 24 that will be announced very soon, that I think you guys are going to be very excited about.
I think I got to try one of those.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I might have. I won't say what it is, but everybody should be very excited. That's all I'm going to say.
There's a few in development, and obviously the Green River single barrel is ramping up. Bardstown single barrel is ramping up. I mean, it's just incredible. I always say we have the best team in bourbon at Bardstown Bourbon Company in Green River, and it's just so cool to be part of a team that is growing in a positive direction the way we are.
So here's the coolest part about finally getting to Green River. When you visit there, when you enter, it has this modern / nostalgic feel to it as soon as you enter.
Emphasis on nostalgic.
Emphasis on nostalgic, but there are aspects of that distillery and the rick houses, those big brick rick houses that just, I don't know, they just, there's a certain just aspect of them that there's like a romanticism when you see it for the first time. And it might have just been the day we were there. The weather was perfect. It was blue skies. So the contrast between like that brick red versus like the sky and then the smells you're getting. I mean, I hate to wax poetic about it, but it was pretty cool.
Everyone that visits Owensboro and Green River ends up waxing poetic about what they see, right? It is an authentic DSP KY10, right? So 10th oldest registered distillery at a certain point in time, early 1900s, the most advertised bourbon, right? And shutters before Prohibition, and we feel like what we're doing is bringing this historic distillery back to life and really honoring the tradition. The cool thing that Bardstown Bourbon Company and Green River have in common is that they are both grain to glass authentic bourbons, right? So the grain was distilled, aged, and bottled right on site at each distillery. So 2 diamonds in the rough, and man, it's just a cool story to tell.
I think Green River is easily one of that Green River wheated. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a big wheated bourbon guy. I usually have a little bit of I'm not going to say like trouble with it, but it's something I just don't normally always go to. However, the Green River wheated this year, that $35 bottle, I think is absolutely fantastic. It is an absolute citrus bomb, great flavors, easy to drink, really affordable. And I cannot wait to see what happens down the line, what you guys have in store for those wheated, for that wheated mash bill, because it's fantastic.
And you're so right. And when we started diving in, and I started looking at barrels, full transparency, Bardstown's about transparency, right? I thought we were going to come out with a bourbon and a rye, and then give the wheated more time. Once we started sampling the barrels and tasting what the wheated had, it was amazing. It was ready to go. And we just wanted to share it. And so we came out, honestly, the wheated unexpected release for 2023. It was just that delicious and sits at 90 proof. For me, it's in our whole portfolio. It's the smooth, welcoming sipper to kind of bring people into bourbon.
Have you tried Kentucky 10 wheated from Green River? What's Kentucky 10? Yeah.
Kentucky 10, great product, younger profile. I love it. If you're looking for I always think of development as a seesaw, right? So you've got grain and fruit out of the gate, and then the barrel notes come up. Kentucky 10, just a little more pure. It's a pure profile, but it's skewed a little more towards the fruit and grain, as opposed to the Green River wheated.
Huge congratulations on the Origin series this year. Again, another just fantastic. I mean, we collaborated a little bit on the release of that when you guys were about to release the Origin series from Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think that's probably one of the best series that released this year as far as price to value to what you were getting in those bottles. And not only that, but I think just the flavor profiles were distinct enough across all three that you really just had something special there. So congrats on that. I do have to ask you. You released a lot of cool finishes this year.
Yeah.
The you bought you brought the Goose Island back, a little bit of a lower proof. Kind of got it out to the masses. You, of course, some of my favorite people in the world, the old Carters. You had a Carter Cellars finish that you released, and the Discovery blends, and of course this little gem. I had to get this because I'm Italian, of course. The Amaro,
Oh wow.
the Amaro Nonino.
There was only 3 barrels of that.
Yeah. So, what was as far I know it's like kind of picking your favorite blend is kind of like picking your favorite child, but if there was maybe let me phrase it like this. If you had a blend that you worked on in 2023 that released, or even if you worked on it a couple years before that, through all the R&D and that released this year, what was kind of the most fun to work on?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great question. When I started at Bardstown, this is coming up on 6 years ago now, I made a list. I had my top 3 collaborative expressions, and 2 of them actually came out this year, which was my goal, like dream come true.
Yeah, for sure.
Nonino and Foursquare Rum. At that time, when I made the list, I didn't know Mark Carter. Getting to know him, and I've spent so much time with him the past couple years that I would have add that to the list retroactively. But I feel like this year was the year that we kind of flexed our innovation and our ability to push boundaries. And it was really reflected. Today it came out, the Uprock's top 30 American whiskeys of the year, and we had 4 of them. I love playing in the space of bourbon and rye coming together to create an American whiskey. So a lot of our expressions this year on the smaller side are not classified a bourbon or a rye, so you won't see them on those lists. But the 4 were the Amaro Nonino, the Carter Cellars, the one that the unsung hero for me of 23 is our Doisy Dane Sauterne finish, which may be my favorite. And then number 1 came in first place this year was the Foursquare Rum. And I just have to stress with these collaborative relationships, people assume they're corporate or their money. There's no contract on these. These are just people excited about making flavor. We're trading barrels. We're experimenting and really pushing the boundaries through innovation.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think going back to Mark Carter, it's pretty infectious working with a guy like that. He's just so enthusiastic all the time and just wants to make great whiskey for everybody. So I could see how that could retroactively be like a favorite, of yours to work with, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, we hit it off from day one. Him and Cherry, just amazing. And I was just out at their winery in Napa, and his story, I told him I'd write his autobiography if no one else is up for it, how he just built his career through hospitality and then the vineyard and then coming here and what he's done. It's
funny. It's funny you bring that up because when we were just in Louisville, I got to sit down with Mark and taste through some of his newer old Carter expressions just this past weekend. And, some of the guys that I was with had never heard a story before. So he kind of talked about it, reiterated it. And it was fantastic to kind of hear that story again. And he just gets so passionate about it. And that's kind of what you want, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I'd say we're focusing on the Carter one, but I would say every team this year, whether it's the Nonino team, an all-female team that's leading the Grappa and Amaro out of Italy, really with Antonella and Francesca Nonino. Incredible people. We were just in London with Richard Seal, who is if you haven't heard of Foursquare, the Pappy Van Winkle of rum.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, love Foursquare.
We're just honored in the trust they put in us to put their branding on our bottle. It's something that hasn't been seen in the industry, and we're really proud of it.
All right, Dan. So before we get into these Blendageddon samples, I have one more question and one more request for you. So here from 13 and 18 Shelby, Master Drum, please ask him to make another Chateau de la Scooby-Doo without the Dickel. So
no one likes the Dickel. It's coming. I have there's 24 in barrel right now, and then I earlier this year. I'm going to butcher his name. My good friend, Denis Legorgon of Chateau de la Baude is sending another batch of barrels.
Oh, I remember that name. I tried to pronounce it when I did the review. Yeah.
Denis is an amazing man. He actually wrote it sounds like an expression, but he actually wrote the book on Armagnac. It's in my office. He wrote an amazing book, and we're excited to bring round 3 to life. And my goal with that one is to make the best one we've done.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, so one more question here and one more request. So last question for you. Is there anything you could tell us about 2024 as far as like Bardstown Bourbon Company, what you're working on, what we could possibly look forward to? Obviously, I know there's some stuff you're probably still working on. You can't kind of, you can't divulge that info quite yet, but is there anything you can for the viewers?
I can divulge some things. I will say I've got a really cool project in the works using some 300-year-old barrels that were used to kind of refit Notre Dame, which is crazy.
What?
Yeah, for that. And through a crazy relationship, we were able to get some, and the wood is just, I think it's some of the best wood grown that I've seen. We've got an awesome project with that.
Can you say what kind of barrels they are or no?
I can't go too. You know what's funny is I'm not sure what I can lean into right now.
I guess I got to try for the viewers, but it's okay. But
so we've got 2 amazing collaborative partnerships. We've got an Indian whiskey coming.
Oh, very cool.
Would be amazing, and then a classic Napa Cabernet in the fall, and in between some small releases. And then the biggest one you guys will see that I'm so excited about is the 4th pillar of our Origin series that'll come out in August.
There's going to be a 4th.
I see. Maybe I'm blowing it now. I don't know what I'm able to say.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
But yeah,
I'm guessing it's going to be the 4 grain that I've been tasting lately.
I'll just say we have so many amazing projects. We are what we say is never stand still. That's our mantra.
Love it.
And we will live by that in 24. And we are not missing a beat after this huge 23. We're going to keep rolling.
Well, I got to say, yeah, you guys in a year of some really great whiskeys. I think you guys killed it this year, as always. That again, between the finishes are always great for me, especially that Amaro Nonino. I think it's a really special bottle. I know there was only 3 barrels of it, unfortunately. But anyone who got lucky enough to get that bottle, it's insanely good. But really, I think what really came to the forefront this year for you guys is that Origin series. That bourbon, the wheated bourbon and that rye are special bottles. They're great values. And I think that really kind of puts you guys at the forefront, as you said, of kind of innovation and seeing what you guys can do with your own distillate, which we are starting to see now in the Discovery blends, which I think is also really exciting.
Yeah, you'll keep seeing it. We just hit 7 years, and my plan is to start really introducing it into Discovery and the collaborative series as it continues to age.
Yeah. All right. So one more request. I saw Bourbon Pursuit had a blend in your gift shop.
Yeah.
I think I need a mash and drum blend in the gift shop.
I would love that. Let's go, man.
Can we do that? Can we do that next year?
I am ready. I'm ready.
All right, Danny. I'll ping you on that. Okay, dude. All right. What do you say we get into Blendageddon? You ready for this?
All right. I've poured all 5. I'm excited. I don't know the proof, the rules, or how we're going to do it, but I am excited to taste them.
So this is all we do, buddy. All we do is we go through them in order, A through E. We just kind of call out our tasting notes. Whatever you taste. Just think of this as you're tasting your own blends. What's the high attributes to it? What are kind of the little bit of the off notes that you're tasting? What's the most cohesive? What's the most balanced? But also, what could be the most unique? We could have, if there's 2 good blends in here, both could be really good. But if one just offers something a little bit more unique, we might want to lean towards that one. Now, the rules that are involved here were the big difference this year was I didn't allow any single barrel store picks or group picks to be allowed because I want people to be able to replicate this blend once all is said and done and we crown a champion. So that was kind of a little bit of a caveat that we changed this year. And basically, as long as it's an American whiskey, we could have some Burrais in here, which you're familiar with. We could have just an all rye blend. We could have just an all bourbon blend, Tennessee whiskey. As long as it's an American whiskey, it could be in these blends. We pick the top 2. The other 3 will be eliminated. And we also get to find out what's in those blends for the eliminated one. So who knows? You may find your next master blender here tonight. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
And somewhere in here is somewhere in this like little menu here of blends is actually last year's champion Eric Sawyer who won.
Cool.
So we're gonna see if he could, make it again to the next round. So let's start with letter A and start breaking them down. Here we go. All right. After we taste through these, Dan, we'll also go reverse order just to kind of, get it all.
Okay. And I will say to everyone watching, blending, it's so subjective, right? I feel bad if I knock someone out or say something negative. That is 100% just my opinion. And
there's nothing that you're going to say that's worse than what I say. I'm just telling you right now. All right, Dan, here we go, dude.
All right, I got A.
All right, here we go.
It's good. A is fantastic.
Yeah, so far so good on the nose.
I don't know if you want to go first or second, but
no, just spit it out, man. There's no rules, man. Just whatever you're tasting, whatever you're smelling, just spit it out.
It's good age, good caramel toffee. It's good dried fruit, cherry note on there, cola note.
Yeah, cherry cola, and I get candy apple on here too a little bit.
Yeah, good fruit, but really a nice caramel base, good age. Sweetness right out of the gate. I can tell this has been in barrel a while.
Yeah, there's some good age on here. I think it's got. Yeah, I'm picking up all these dark fruit notes that I'm really digging here. I think the cherry cola was pretty spot on.
Peanut on the palate with a grippy finish.
Oh, you tasted already. Shit. Okay. Cheers.
Sorry, I didn't know the rules. Yeah, good fruit, cherry, red fruit, dry red fruit on the palate. Dry red fruit on the nose, peanut on the palate, and certainly a grippy long finish.
That's really good.
Good.
This is how we're starting tonight.
Yeah, wow. Down the middle, classic great bourbon. No issues with that one. I would
that punch of peanut that you mentioned. It's like a honey roasted peanut for me, and it pops in right in the mid palate.
It's really nice. It's nice. If this is what we're tasting tonight, you've got a good job.
I'm telling you, week five has some hitter blenders in here, so it's gonna be a tough night. This might be a little bit of a challenge for us to eliminate 3 here, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's man, great bourbon. Whoever blended A, well done.
Yeah,
are we on B?
Yeah, let's go to B here. A is already. And, these will change. My experience, as you know, with blending, these will change as we even go back to it a little bit. So we'll see how they open up even more.
B uses a bourbon that I use. I can say that. I don't know. So I'll just say Bardstown Bourbon Company, we started distilling in 2016. So we do source some older bourbon. Long term, we use our own stuff. But for right now, with Discovery and Collabs, we source bourbon. This B uses one that I enjoy sourcing. It's got
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It's got a nice watermelon note, a cherry note to it, a real bright candied fruit. So I don't know what bottle it maybe came from or how they got there, but
oh man, now I can't get off a watermelon. What'd you do?
Watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, watermelon Jolly Rancher for sure.
Uses it, so kudos for finding it. It's a rare one to find, so I'm not sure how B found that one, but good job.
Man, this is really fruit forward as well.
Yeah.
This is a little bit brighter, like you said. Kind of get watermelon, even a little bit of like a cantaloupe melon I'm picking up here.
Yeah, it's nice. It's got fruit, watermelon. It does have a dark chocolate. Softer finish, less tannic, less grippy than A. A would be more of the bolder classic Kentucky bourbon, and B for me.
Yeah, B that fruit is from front to back. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, more of a fruit bomb, but nice. I like it. If they knew I was coming on, they knew what bourbon to pick. I like it.
Yeah, nobody knew you were coming on. Well, actually, a couple people did, but most people didn't. So.
That's a good one. But very different style. A would be more cigar classic, deeper bourbon, with B leaning into the fruit.
Yeah, I think you're correct with A. A is a little bit more grippy on the palate, especially on the finish. Actually, a little bit even more drying too on the back end on A. A little bit. That oak is really kind of comes through strong in the back of that.
Yeah, cool. And I want to talk to whoever did B and where they got that bourbon.
Well, if B somehow gets eliminated, we'll find out exactly what's in it. And
maybe that's a reason to eliminate. All right.
Let's go to letter C here. Let's see what we get.
All right. This will be the first one. I might say, I'll preface by saying I am an individual and this is just my opinion. And to me, it's a little lemon pledge. Bright, more.
I immediately got rye, which I think plays into the lemon pledge thing. Yeah. There's definitely some rye spice talk here.
Acidic on the finish. Cool rye flavor, unique flavor. Lavender, which is kind of those floral notes that you get from rye. Completely different ballpark than A and B.
Wow, it's very floral.
Yeah, lemon and lavender.
Very floral to me.
Yeah. I like it. Depends what we're going for, right? If we're making a
it's
dessert bourbon.
This is perfumey for sure.
Perfumey is a good word. Yeah. I'll stick with lemon and lavender.
Yeah, lemon and like lavender definitely tracks. I got more of the lemon on the nose and on the palate. The palate is so floral focused. It's hard to kind of get past that.
Yeah. Cool. Whoever submitted it, very cool approach. White flower, citrus, real nice. Would make an awesome cocktail.
Yeah, this is like begging for like a Manhattan or an old fashioned or something.
Yeah. That's
awesome. Man, that's good. Cool. I like it more and more each time I sip it. It's really kind of developing in the glass, I think. But
yeah, it caught me off. To be honest, it caught me off guard after A and B because it was such a departure.
Yeah, it's so different than A and B for
sure. Just bright. Yeah, really liked it.
It's got a nice pop of like sneaky citrus there too, mid palate that I really like. It kind of plays along with that floral quality.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like that. If there is rye in here, which I'm thinking there is, it's definitely not an herbal rye. It's more of a floral type rye.
I 100% agree. It's not a mint. It's not a mint.
It's not a spearmint. There's no dill. It's very floral.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Some great listeners.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
Great blend so far. Let's go to the D. Everybody loves the D. Here we go.
This is nice.
This is really nice. This gets me back into more of those traditional bourbon notes here.
Mm-hmm. You're back to number one. You're
vanilla, caramel, cherry, little oak. I'm actually getting a little savory on this too, I think. I'm not sure if there is some rye in here or if it's a high rye, but there's definitely something going on in here.
Yeah. Really nice. Big maple note for me. Big maple and then spice on the palate. Again, similar to number one with the grippy finish, grippy long finish. Yeah. Big baking spice and maple. Nice. Again, I would put this in the category of kind of the cigar flavor. Slightly brighter than number one.
Yeah, this isn't as dark as number one, but I feel like it goes down the same path as number one. It just doesn't get into like that dark cherry tannic finish that one has. It stays a little bit more kind of even keel.
I'd put it on the baking spice, like a clove, almost like an Angostura.
Yeah, clove and cinnamon for sure.
Yeah, clove. So maple clove with a nice grippy finish. That's good.
I get citrus on that too. It actually drinks like a nice old fashioned, to be honest.
That's funny. Yeah, that's if you had like a burnt orange.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice.
I get like that milk chocolate covered orange rind that you get in like those candy shops sometimes.
Yeah, totally agree with that. It's got the citrus and the Angostura to go with caramel. let's call D an old fashioned in a glass.
Old fashioned. That's nice. Well, I got 4 really good blends so far.
We're supposed to kick these out. What the plan is?
Yeah, we got to pick the 2 best ones here. So
okay, I have my favorites. I'm gonna make
Well, let's see. There you go. You already have favorites.
All
right. Letter E. There we go. Oh,
that's weird. Interesting. I love it. It's got.
What is that? I feel like I've had that before.
Barbecue note.
I've had that before. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's like a sweet, smoky barbecue thing going on.
Get it from. I've had it before in a couple bourbons. Don't want to name them, but if you get a high malt with like a smoky feel, I'll just say it. I've gotten a similar note on like MB Roland. It's nice, but it's certainly like this barbecue meaty note.
It reminds me a little bit of last year's Little Book blend with that cherry smoked wood, that cherry smoked malt that he used, where it had the smoke to it, a little bit of a chocolatey note to it. Maybe there's something a little bit more crafty in this blend. I'm thinking.
I think that's it. I think crafty, unique. E is our experimenter.
Yeah. E is using some weird stuff here.
More power to you.
Yeah, smoked grains maybe. Yeah.
There's
bourbon lens in the house. They're saying maybe some few spirits in the blend. Maybe
I would say
I gotta say though, I love. Do you feel like this is just a long finish because it's spicy, or do you feel like it's a long finish because it's proofy? Because it's got some heat to it.
It's got some heat. I think the spice is there. To me, what is dominating the aroma and the flavor is that kind of smoky barbecue note.
Yeah, for sure.
Meaty would be the best.
Meaty is a good way to put it.
Yeah. So we've got. If I was gonna. I love an exercise of putting 1 or 2 words to a blend just so I can categorize and name, and then I'll make notes to them after. But
this is kind of cool because not only are you getting to taste these with us, but you're also I think we're learning a little bit about your blend process, which is kind of interesting. Everybody, and all the people that I've talked to, Nancy Fraley's been on. We've had some great blenders along the way. We had Ryan Cecil. He was a judge last week. Everybody has
Ryan Cecil.
Yeah. Everybody has their different processes. So,
I think if it was my process, I would, for those listening, I would taste all these, sit on them, and then I would absolutely come back tomorrow, and taste them again and kind of live with them a bit, let it kind of settle. Obviously we don't have that luxury now. It's just kind of first impressions. But I love to kind of separate them in my mind, and then we would be up all night, but I would loop back and forth for a good couple hours.
Yeah, this is unfortunately we don't have all night. However, when I've done my own blends, I definitely do that. I blend it, I let it sit overnight, go back to it. I'll let it blend for a couple months before I go back just to see how it's turned. Is it as good as I think it is? Probably. I don't know about you, but I'm probably my own worst critic because I just never think it's good enough, and I have to have other people taste it because I feel like I'm too close to it. Do you ever get to that point?
Yeah, I had that conversation today. So I do blends for obviously Bardstown and Green River, but also for a lot of our partner brands.
Yeah.
And I was saying, if I was at home, it's like if you're a band. If you're paying for the recording time, you can go forever. But if you're not paying for it, right? But if you're paying for it, and the blends do, if you're making an album, you could make tweaks forever, right? At some point, you just kind of need to say, this is ready to go.
Yeah.
I put it more eloquently this morning, but the point was, you could do one forever. Yes.
So I don't know if you remember the story, but this had to be a couple years ago. This is probably 2021, maybe 22. I can't remember exactly. So me and Scott from my bourbon journey, we came in to have lunch at Bardstown Bourbon Company, and we happened to run into you. You were there, and you brought us over a pour of your Bardstown Bourbon Company, and it was the which finish was that? It was the I don't think it was the Prisoner.
I have no
Maybe
idea.
it was the Fair. It was
the early days. Could have been Pfeiffer Pavitt.
Yes, that's what it was. It was the Pfeiffer Pavitt, but it was the single barrel you were releasing that was like
yeah, the extra long. Yeah, the 24 or 26 month one.
It was like a 26-month finish on it, and
yeah,
so
amazing.
So my girlfriend Kim, who's not really a big whiskey drinker, she's actually learning. She's actually enjoying it a little bit more each time she tries it, which is really exciting. She has a great nose. I think she has a great palate. She definitely picks up some stuff. I think women are just incredible like that. They just have such better palates than men do. But you had brought over 4 glasses of this release you were going to do. I think either like that weekend or the following weekend, you guys are going to release it. Obviously, not many barrels along, not many bottles. Crazy long finish on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like looking at her. I'm like, I'm not sure if you're gonna like that. And she sipped it. She's like, oh, I could drink this. I'm like, great, because it's like, it's super limited, and we're gonna have to come back next weekend and get it. So she has an affinity for like these really like beautiful finished whiskeys. To be honest,
she has good taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do, Dan. We're gonna go in reverse order. Kind of start picking out our outliers here.
I've got 2 outliers.
Yeah, but before we do that, this is kind of a recurring thing here on Blendageddon. It started last year, where I ask everybody, every blender, every whiskey tuber, whoever comes on to help as a judge, how they construct their favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
All right. So this is now you have to go into detail here, man. You got to go type of bread. Toasted, untoasted, type of peanut butter, creamy, crunchy, type of jelly, jam, preserves, strawberry versus grape. Give it all to us. What do you got?
Well, I will say I have made more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches this year than I think any of your listeners, as I have 2 young boys that are 3 and 4. So
what's yours, not theirs? What's your perfect peanut butter and jelly? Yeah.
Can I go weird with it?
You get as weird. Like we got pretty weird last year, so we could get as weird as you want.
Okay. If I'm just going normal, first I would put banana on it, because I always slice up a banana, put it in the middle. I am torn on jelly, and I go through tons of different jellies. I'm not a big savory jelly guy.
Is it wait a second? Is it a brand thing, or is it a type of jelly that you kind of go through?
There's a lot of the onion jams and all that out there. I'm not a savory bacon jelly guy. I can't do that. I would like to do fruit. I grew up in England.
Okay.
So I have an affinity for black currant. I drank a lot of Ribena as a kid.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Yeah, I do black currant jelly. I would do.
We have Roy in the chat. He's on board with you with the banana. Okay.
So crunchy peanut butter. I would just go to, as lame as it sounds, I'd just go to Whole Foods and get a crunchy peanut butter. I'm
a crunchy peanut butter guy too. I like the texture, to be honest.
I would slice up a banana. I put it on the peanut butter. I do black currant jelly, and I would get a cast iron, little butter, tiny bit of butter, and toast it on either side. Slice it down, and that would be my perfect.
So do you slice it middle, or do you slice it corner to corner?
Well, lately I've been slicing in fourths because my kids won't eat it any other way. It's been this way. I haven't even thought about. I've never in my life been a corner to corner guy. I've seen it in commercials, but I've never experienced it myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never done the corner to corner thing, but apparently that's a thing. We've gotten a lot of feedback on. Nancy Fraley, I know you know her. She sent me literally a photo of all the components she uses. She has a very distinct peanut butter and jelly that she made. Did you mention bread? What type of bread do you use?
My wife. So I'm married to the most amazing woman ever, Sarah Louise, who makes bread every week for us.
She makes you bread?
Not me personally. She makes the family bread. She's deep. Our family's huge into cooking, and
Yeah, for sure.
she makes all kinds of breads every week. So whatever she's working on, that's the bread we use, and she's I would say pretty close to mastering it. So I use her bread.
Is it just a white bread? Like a
No. She's King Arthur flour all day, every day. I'm King Arthur ride or die, and
oh yeah,
getting after that. And,
I'm just gonna say I'm not even like screwing with you right now. That might be the most impressive peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've heard so far.
I'm not trying to be pretentious. The last thing I ever. So I came up after music. I came up in the wine world, and it's full of pretentious. So I'm very self-conscious to not be. Have
you heard of this? People putting the mayo on the outside and frying it to do the.
That's Bardstown special. They hang out. Talk to Steve Nally, our master distiller.
Yeah.
They eat banana, mayo, and bread. I want to say. Ask a Bardstown. It has a name.
So that's crazy you bring that up. I literally just learned about that sandwich like 2 weeks ago. I was watching.
Dip it in the mayo, yeah.
Yeah, it was somebody that was in, I believe, South Carolina. I don't know if it's a Southern thing.
It's a Bardstown thing.
It's a Bardstown thing. Yeah, they had sliced bananas and mayonnaise on a sandwich, and that's it. I was like, that sounds terrible, but it's a thing.
Yeah, and they call it's in classic Bardstown fashion. They call it like something salad or something. It's a very distinctive name.
Has anybody in the chat heard about this sandwich, or does anybody in the chat eat the sandwich? I'm curious.
Dips it directly in the mayo. I know that's a thing.
I've used mayo on the outside of a grilled cheese. It's actually really good. I'm sorry I had to give Lily. Oh, could you please repeat everything you said in the last 20 minutes? Okay, thanks, says EJ. No, EJ, you're going to have to watch the replay. Chase Johansson, he says, as a chef, I support homemade bread. Hell yeah.
So I would say final answer in 5 seconds. King Arthur bread, crunchy peanut butter, banana, and
blackcurrant jelly.
That's what I'd go with.
Toasted or untoasted?
Toasted. I do a cast iron.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep. But
yeah, I think we're on the same wavelength as far as peanut butter jelly. I like to use toasted bread. I probably like to go with like a really high-end strawberry like preserve / jam.
Yeah.
Crunchy peanut butter for me, toasted. I did try the mayo crunchy thing on the cast iron, and I gotta say it kind of blew me away. So I might keep doing it like that.
My kids are getting so picky. They're 3 and 4. They get angry if their bread is not toasted on their peanut butter jelly. It's spoiled them.
That's what happens, man.
They complain that it's not toasted.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Let's go through these real quick in reverse order, and we'll start picking out our winners here.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And
this last one, I think this last one has gotten even smokier. Now that we're going back to it.
Super unique. I would give this the unique award. If I had to give everyone an award, this would be the pushing boundaries, cool, unique, exploring what a smoky whiskey could taste like.
And I actually enjoy. There's a nice little punch of dark fruit on the mid palate, good spice on the back end to go along with that smoke. It's nice.
It's a great pour, and
I'm a fan.
Whoever made it, I'd like to hang out with them and talk whiskey. How's that?
Oh, there you go. Whoever blended whoever blended E, you got an invite from Dan.
D is fantastic. I think we nailed it with the old-fashioned in a glass, where it's got the right balance of citrus, Angostura, sweetness on the palate, big cherry notes. Now I'm tasting it. More cherry notes on the palate.
Yeah, D is an old-fashioned in a glass. I could drink that all night. That's delicious. Huge sweetness. I think the Angostura bitter call out is perfect because there is a slight hint of that right in the mid palate as well. But I love also I think what we haven't talked about with D yet is the texture of it. It really kind of just glides on the palate. It's really nice.
I agree. C to me is it's the lemon, it's the rye. It's just a little soapy. Just smelling it.
Yeah, soapy. Soapy's a good terminology. It actually smells a little like a Christmas tree to me now. It's gotten piney.
I like it. It's just super unique. I'd like to meet whoever blended C as well. Just unique personality for sure.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see who that belongs to. All right, let's go to B here.
B is using that watermelon Jolly Rancher.
B is the watermelon Jolly Rancher, which I cannot get out of my head now since you put that in there. I'm not usually a big watermelon guy, but this actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the spice on that too. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's nice.
Is that a weeder that's in there? Is that what that's coming from?
It might be. I don't think the watermelon note's coming from a weeder, but there could be a weeder slipped in there.
That's really good.
Oh, it's great. It's nice. I would sip on that, but I think I'm biased because I have an affinity towards that bourbon.
Ron Miles says, if anyone wants to make me a banana mayo sandwich, I'm moving out of Kentucky.
Ronnie.
Ron.
Ron,
the next time you come over, I'm so making you that. You won't even see it coming. I'm just going to make you that sandwich. I'm just like, yeah, we're going to have some bourbon, and here's some, we're going to slice it in 4 corners, just like Dan does for his kids.
Ron is one of my favorite people to hang out with. He loves bourbon, food, cigars, and one of the, I don't know, the best attitudes in the industry.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest humans on the planet. So I love every time I see him. He just makes me laugh, man. It makes me smile. All right, letter A, last one. This is the Cherry Cola Bomb, man. I love this one. This brings me back to those old MGP blends that you used to try back in the day.
Yeah, this one to me is really hitting kind of a classic note. Of the 5, to me, this is premium, classic, beautiful bourbon. Maybe
a little bit of I don't know, as soon as I hear like cherry cordial, I immediately go to Buffalo Trace. So I don't know if that's what's in there, but
yeah,
it's very staggish, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready to duke it out. How's this work?
All right, so basically, let's start with eliminating the ones we don't feel like will go forward.
Okay.
I think C seems to be the most polarizing, maybe.
Yeah.
That soapy note. I love the inventiveness of that one, but as far as the blend goes, it's just too soapy and piney and floral, and there's just not a lot else there except that. What's your opinion?
If I made C, I'd be so happy that I made it.
Yeah.
What I would want to improve on C is to give it a bottom and a base.
Yeah.
I think they got all the high notes, all the floral and citrus. They just need the depth to it. So I think C is off to a beautiful start on the aroma.
Yep.
But needs to be built on to give it a base. But
yeah, there's just not enough of a darkness to it, especially on the back end, that kind of really balances out all of that spice and that sweet and that florality that it has.
I would take 30% C and 70% I'd find a deep, big bourbon.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna take C out here.
All right.
What's your
I'd move on from E. I think E is experimental and wonderful and cool, but the meaty note to me trumps the caramel and the sweetness. So
yeah, and this is
almost by its meatiness.
So this is interesting because these blends have been sitting the longest since they've been submitted. So as things have happened now, when this person created this blend, I'm wondering if the smoky note was as strong as it is now, because it definitely has kind of taken over the entire palate.
Yeah, it's a weird concept. It's a fancy word for it would be saponification, right? Where it, short story, it just takes a while for things to settle. And maybe when they were blending it, the fruit notes rise on top and the smoke was underneath. But over time, maybe
just that smoke has not only overtaken the palate, but even the finish has gotten a little bit drying here.
Yeah,
so as well.
So yeah, this is now we're in a tough spot.
Yeah, because between A, B, and D, we have a tough one here. So now we get into uniqueness, because all three of these are really good, but out of the three, which one is the least unique that we would have to move on from? For me, I mean, you can make an argument that A is not as unique, but damn, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
B, I love how fruit forward it is. I love how different it is, with all, like you said, that spicy watermelon note. And then you have D, which is basically a liquid old fashioned in a glass, which is just absolutely crushable.
Crushable.
So yeah, just crushable.
This is like the college football playoff, man. We got to.
Yeah. Plus, for some reason, Florida State is going to be one of these bourbons that's going to be left out, unfortunately.
I don't know. Are we able to do a three-way tie? I feel like these are three really great contenders. Honestly, these are. I have a tough time deciding which one is better in these. They're both beautiful in their own way.
Yeah, all three of them are really great blends. And this is what happens. We get into Blendageddon. We've had two other rounds like this where all five were really unique, all delicious. Some of them have their pros, their cons, but you get into a point where you have this top three, and one of them has to be eliminated, unfortunately. But
okay, but I can pull the trigger if needed. But I think they are all deserving to move on. But I can kick one out if we need.
So my top two favorite are A and B.
Interesting.
I love D. I love it. However, a liquid old fashioned to me isn't quite unique enough. A and B has the flavor punches and the uniqueness that I like in some of these. So where are you at? Because I can see the old fashioned being a favorite too.
Can I tell you, I was pushing through B the whole time. I was A and B, and then I was A and D, B and D.
Yeah.
And back to A and B, but I know I wanted B to go through. So to me, it was a battle between A and D for who went through.
Yeah. So, okay. So B is going through. Let's pull B out. B is through. Now
it's interesting.
Yeah, between A and D, A I just think has it's just got the oomph that I love in a good bourbon. Maybe that's my classic bourbon, flavor profile that I love.
It's got a great little. It's complex. I like how complex A is. I really do.
But man, this old fashioned one, maybe I'll throw this in as a wild card. I don't know.
Throw it in as a wild card. I'm good with A and B, and D is a wild card. I'm good.
Okay.
D is smooth, balanced finish though. Killer finish on D.
Killer finish on D as well.
Maybe D has the better finish than A.
You could definitely make an argument for that. I think A has a long finish, but the finish on D has more layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you're Mash and Drum and I'm the guest. So
you're the mastermind. So I just work here.
I think they're both beautiful bourbons. Man, I would put one as a wild card if you kick one of them out for sure.
Well, maybe D does become the wild card. I've been saying that if there's a tough blend that we need to leave in, maybe D does become the wild card. I might have to think about
A and B through, and let's put D as a consider for a wild card.
Okay, so we're gonna eliminate D, but it could be a wild card. So as far as A and B goes, A and B makes it through to the next round, to the Fab Five. So congratulations. But let's find out what was in blends right here. We're going to go with E and C. So the Grinch has all the answers all the time. So let's see what happens here. All right, here we go, guys. I have the blends here. Here are the beautiful envelopes. So letter C belongs to Mr. Andy Bolgiano with his blend, and you might appreciate this, Dan, called 4-State Fusion.
Love it.
4-State Fusion blend. So this was the one that we said was
Floral.
Yeah.
Yeah, lemon and lavender.
Floral, lemon. We needed a bit more of a base. I'm curious as to what rye is in here. So 4-state fusion, I'm thinking we have Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe some Texas. Let's see what we got in here. Indiana, for sure, maybe that 95.5. Let's see what we got. 4-state fusion includes, well, it's 107.7 proof, so Andy, he proofed it for us. Equal parts of all below. Here we go. Evan Williams 12-year.
Wow.
Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. So there's your Indiana. There's your Indiana rye whiskey. Hard Truth making amazing stuff. The Sagamore 8-year. Wow. Okay. Sagamore Double Oaked. Oh, baby. Bardstown Origin Rye is in here.
Yeah.
And then the Middle West Spirited Ported Pumpernickel Rye Cask Strength right here, made in Ohio. Crazy.
Beautiful. Awesome blend.
I mean, I would have never guessed any of those were in that blend, considering how, like you said, how lemon it was forward, how citrusy. I think a lot of the citrus notes definitely make sense from a rye standpoint, but how herbal it got and how floral it got, I think is what's most surprising.
Yeah, I think it gorgeous blend. I think, I would drink it. Absolutely. If I was submitting again, I would dial up the 12-year.
Yep.
Great.
All right. Dial up the 12-year, Andy. That's the advice from the master here. Okay. Let's go to let's go to letter E. So letter E, we thought was the sweet barbecue note one. And that one belongs to none other than Darren Clary. Darren Clary with his American whiskey blend. I don't know where this name of this blend came from, but it's literally called Trev's Clean Banana. I don't know what that means, but that's what he named the blend. So, any guesses to where that smoky note came from?
No, I'm curious to hear.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh my God, really? All right, 118.5 proof. Jack Daniels single barrel proof, 131.8 proof. He has 3 parts of that. 2 parts Sagamore Spirit 8-year rye. And the second blend, we saw that Sagamore being used, that 8-year. Calumet 16 and then Calumet 15. The Calumet makes sense. That is where that smoky note came from, because especially that 15-year Calumet, when that bottle gets down to a certain point, you get all that barrel char and that smoke comes out. That's got to be where it came from. And I think it overtook the blend, unfortunately.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow. I was expecting more of a...
Me and you said crafty. There was something crafty there.
But I think maybe that's the char, or maybe it was... I would honestly look into how it was stored, the glass it was transported in.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of those factors, because there was certainly this meaty note that, to me, doesn't.
It doesn't really jive with what we were thinking, what we were tasting, which is crazy.
Right. So maybe I looked at interpretation and storage.
Yeah. Clean bananas in the chat. He says, "What dirty banana name? They're losing their blend after me." That's probably Darren. So that means. Letter A, which we loved, and letter B, I'm not going to say whose was whose, but it just means that Shelby Strunk, Eric Sawyer, and DMC Kentucky with his blend, It's Tricky. Looks like we're going to get to the Fab Five with a little bit of a wild card in the mix.
Love it.
So Shelby Strunk's his blend name was Pour It, Sip It, Chew It, Spit It. Eric Sawyer's blend name was the Butterfly Assassin. So that means Eric Sawyer, the defending champion who blended, I'm not going to say which one he blended, but he's moving to the next round. The defending champ is still in the mix. Congratulations. And DMC, it looks like your blend was good enough to be the wild card, which means next week we're going to have a double dip, guys. The semifinals next week, 2 judges, 10 blends, all going head to head next week. So it's going to be nuts. Dan, what do you think of the blends overall? Pretty impressive, right?
Yes, incredibly impressed. Seriously, that B was phenomenal. I would bottle that up right away. And then A and D, tough to pick between, but both stellar.
Yeah, A and B. I love the flavor punch of A. I think B might be the most elegant blend, one of the most elegant blends we've seen in the competition so far.
Cool. Congrats to everyone. It's awesome.
Yeah, congrats, guys. And Dan, I'll keep you posted as far as like you know, who wins this thing, because I would love for you to meet the blend winner eventually.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be tuning in now. I want to see how this goes.
All right, guys. So with that said, Dan, why don't you tell everybody where to find you? You know, if you want to contact you, ask you any questions, or anything. If you want to reiterate anything that we talked about earlier about Green River and Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Cheers. I would just say come see us in Bardstown, Louisville, and Owensboro. Check us out, bardstownbourbon.com, and you can follow me, Danny Bardstown, if you want to keep track of the blends and finishes for Bardstown and Green River that are in the works. I'll keep posting stories and videos of what we're working on. So cheers, and I would say sincerely, Jason, everything you're doing, man, thank you. This is incredible to be a part of. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate that. And as you guys know, Bardstown Bourbon Company has a special place in my heart. I love what you guys are doing. I love Steve Nally. Every time I've talked to him, he is just such a genuine and such a sweet guy to talk to, and the stuff he's working on. He watched one of my videos where I put the Origins wheated bourbon over some of the other like popular bourbons out there, including Weller, the other wheated bourbons. And he was kind enough to sign a bottle for me and send it to me just for that. I mean, that's what type of person he is and the type of people working at Bardstown. We are working on possibly a Master Drum event over in Bardstown later next year. So looking forward to that. But Dan, thank you so much for your expertise. Amazing. I can't wait to collaborate with you sometime soon, maybe next year. Get a Master Drum blend in the gift shop. So
awesome.
And cheers. With that, guys, as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share with. So cheers. See you next week for a big semifinal round, a double dip on the Master Drum. See you guys next week, and cheers.